Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys my favorite brushes and beauty sponges that I have been using. Just to give you guys a little bit of backstory, I started getting into makeup when I was 17 or 18, mostly 17. I remember my sister taking me to Sephora for shopping for my birthday, and I bought this really shitty ass Sephora foundation. I bought a Sephora primer, and by the way, that foundation was definitely not my shade. It was way darker than my skin tone. I bought the HD loose setting powder from Makeup Forever. I bought a Sephora airbrush foundation brush and a kabuki brush from Makeup Forever because that's what comes with the stuff that they're selling you. And I remember we spent about like $160, and my sister was not planning on spending that much, but I went home very excited. Like, I was super ecstatic. I was like over the moon, like, oh my god, I get to play with these. And now that I'm like almost an expert in my field of, like, you know, my whatever makeup I do, when I look back at it, those are some shitty products. Like, those are some shitty brushes. I mean, the Makeup Forever brush was really expensive, like $40 for like a small kabuki brush. And now I'm just like, why did I ever spend that much money on something? It's probably because I didn't know much about it. I didn't go in doing research. All I knew is I needed a primer, a foundation, a concealer, a setting brush, and setting spray. Setting powder. And now I know so much more, and I hope to educate you all who are watching my videos of things that, you know, you can buy and cheaper alternatives, because back then in 2011 there were barely any YouTube videos for people and YouTubers of my skin tone doing any videos. There were a couple, and I went out doing shopping based on those couple. So my goal is just to help you guys out, find things that are, you know, good for your skin tone, skin type, cheaper alternatives, and things like that. So that was a good backstory of how this YouTube channel began for me and my purpose of doing the videos in itself. So let's get right into all the brushes and sponges that I have been using for the past years. So first off, let's start off with face brushes, because those are much more expensive and much more, you know, bigger bulk of the products that you're using. Most of the time, eyeshadow palettes, some of them come with brushes themselves, so it's easier to know what type of eyeshadow brushes you want to use. I will be showing you guys the brushes that I use for my eyes, but for the face, let's start off with beauty sponges. Now, for beauty sponges, I like the Morphe beauty sponge a lot. The fact that it's angled on the sides, it's really helpful to kind of carve out your contours and your nose, if anything. And this side is good for the foundation. You always want to wet your brushes. These sponges are meant to be wet and use wet, so you're supposed to run them under the water, squeeze out the water, and then make sure they puff up, and they're supposed to be really bouncy. And you're supposed to use your foundation like that. You want to really wring the water out of them, and then make sure they're a bit drier, and then apply your foundation, your concealer, powder, contour, whatever you're gonna use, liquid products with this. I also use my dry powders with this too, so my setting powder sometimes. The other one I have back there, but I'm too lazy to get up and go there, is the beauty blenders. So I have a couple of them. I have the Beauty Blender Pro, which is the black one. I really don't find anything different with it except that it's black. It feels a bit stiffer than the other ones, but it's black, it's a bit stiffer. That's about it. I have the blue one, I have the nude one. They feel the same to me. They're softer, they're like the pink one. They're great. I do recommend washing them with their Beauty Blender solids. I wash my brushes with the Beauty Blender solids. And that's for the brush. That is it for those sponges. I only use those sponges. Now let's go on to the brushes. For the brushes, I like two brushes that I use for my foundation. And those two is, one of them is the Morphe E44. And this was the old E44. Which was a brown, the white bristles on the top, which I really like. I don't like the new E44. It's a bit, it feels more not suitable for like foundation for some reasons. I don't want to kind of upgrade it. You'll see it's a bit dirty because I had to literally crazy glue this together because the barrel came off, but I still use it. It's really great for buffing in your foundation. I love this. The other one that I really like is the Morphe M439. This is much more nearer. This is more tightly packed up here, but I still like this for foundations. I kind of alternate between the two, whichever one is dirty, whatnot. But I really like these two for foundation. For concealers, I have a couple of brushes for concealers, and they all do different things for me. So this one is a bigger concealer brush. This is the Morphe M536. This is for when I use concealer under my eye and I want to blend it out and I don't want to use a sponge. So I use this under the eye, blending it out. It's really great. I like it. It's something that I've added to my collection new, and I've been using it a lot and I've been enjoying it. The other ones that I've been using is the Morphe G26. Now this I use for more of precise concealing and precise highlighting. So I like getting into the inner corners with this. I like doing my nose with this. I also like blending out the edges with this. This is just great for like small spot concealing as well. Now if I'm using a cream concealer, most likely like my NARS Creamy Radiant Concealer in the pot, I like using my Kat Von D concealer brush. That's 40. It's just a concealer brush. It's angled, so it's really nice. You can see it's like tapered to the end, like pointed. So it's really nice also if you want to do like cream contouring. I have used it like that. It's nice to get a sharp line if you're not using any eyeliner and you kind of want to create a line on your eyeshadow. It's really good for that. For those purposes, I really like this. For contouring and bronzing, I have 3 brushes that I like using. So for bronzing, I like using the Morphe E3 brush. Now there's a couple of types of, this is the newer version of the E3 brush. The first one is white bristles, the newer ones are brown bristles. I have both. I used to like using the white one for just powders or anything like that, but I like using this for my bronzer. It's really big, really fits in, so it gets my cheeks really well, it gets my forehead and the bottom really well for bronzing. I also like doing some more bronzing with the Morphe Y11 brush. This also gets a more precise and creates a nice line for me, and it's smaller, so it's nice to carry around. For cream contouring, I like using my MAC 130 brush. This is a small stippling brush that I like using. This helps because it's more smaller, so it helps keep the product in place and helps me blend it out inwards, and it also helps me blend out my NARS contour because it's smaller. So I really like this. For setting my powders or anything like that, I like using my Luxie 522 tapered highlighting brush. This is really beaten. I really like this. I got this in a BoxyCharm box, and it's really good. I like using this for the under eye, just, you know, blending out powder all over my face. So for blush, I've been using the MAC 116 brush, and I've been using it for many years, and it's really great because it just fits right on my apple of my cheeks, and it fits really nice, and it's really good quality, and I just like it. It's really amazing. It's expensive, but I really like it, and it's the only blush brush that I use. I forgot to mention, for contouring, I actually use 2 brushes of contouring for my nose, and one of them is just this blending eyeshadow brush that's really tapered. And I used to use this at first. This is just a regular blending eyeshadow brush that I got from BJ's. I was a part of a set. And the other one that I use is the Morphe E47 brush, and it's a very thin, it's a really flat angled brush. I don't know if you guys can see it. So just gonna give you guys a little view on this. But it's really good to get a really precise line on both sides and blends it in as well. So I've been loving this for nose contour. For highlighting, I like using 2 brushes that I have. One brush is the Morphe E48 brush. This is a big highlighting brush, but I also like it for shades that are more natural, more subtle highlights. I like using this because I like to pile it onto the brush and apply it to my face. When I want a more blinding highlight, I like using my Morphe Y14. This is smaller, it's more of a fluffier brush and gets me really nice to get a really nice highlight right here. So those are it for the face brushes, and then we're going to go into eye brushes. I have a couple of eye brushes, but I'm going to try to refine them down to a couple of core brushes that I think that you guys really need and belong in your collection. One brush that you really need is something similar to the tapered blender brush of the E40 from Sigma. Morphe also has something like this, which is the Morphe E27 brush. And it's basically a large fluffy eyeshadow brush that you can lay down a base color with, also just blend out any lines if you want like a clean brush. It's really good for that. For a crease brush, I would recommend, I have 3 versions of this. So I have one for MAC, which is the MAC 217. It's a really nice crease brush. Something comparable is the Morphe E433 brush. They all follow the same category type of crease brushes where they're kind of flat, but they're also kind of floofed out on the top. And the other one is the Sigma Blending E25. So these are all literally almost the same, but they're from 3 different brands. The Morphe is the one that's the cheapest. The MAC one, I don't remember, but I feel like Sigma falls right in between them, but they're all the same and they work the same as well. So what I like doing with these, I like getting a transition color and then putting in the crease in the transition area. And then I can use the same brush right after I put my crease and transition color. I like taking a darker color and then getting in the crease, getting in the outer. And if I want to do it all over the lid, I can also use this too. So this one brush can do it all if you use it in this a proper order. Now, if you want something on the lid and it's a separate color, I would recommend the MAC 239 brush. Something similar to this is the Sigma E eye shading brush, the E55. These are the two shadow, it's help with laying down any eyeshadow or anything like that, packing on eyeshadow. I don't have anything that's cheaper from Morphe. I feel like probably I never got it because I had these and they're not that, I don't use them as much. For something like cream eyeshadow or like glitter eyeshadow, I like using the MAC 242 or something that's closer is the LMR brush, and it's one of these flat shader brushes that are small. It helps with packing down any cream eyeshadow or any glitter, or if you're gonna use concealer to kind of cut crease, these are really good for that. For my inner corner, I've been using the Morphe E36 brush. It's really fine. I used to use this for my lower lash before, but I realized I need a more finer brush for my inner corner. I used to use the Sigma Pencil E30 brush, but I feel like it's really too big for my inner corner because it kind of gets everywhere. But this is much more easier for me. It's smaller and it's easier for me to kind of like precisely get it in the areas where I want it. For my lower lash line, I like using some fine brushes. I like using the Luxie 141 mini round brush, which kind of is small rounded brush like this. Or something similar to that is the Morphe Y22 brush. This is a bit more tapered and a bit more bigger than the other one, but it's really nice. Whenever I want a defined outer corner or a color in the crease that I want to define really harsh, I use the Sigma small tapered blending brush. It's the E45. So this is a small black brush that is tapered, really tapered in the corner, so I can really kind of get an angle and also blend it into the corner with a point. For my brows, I like using the Brow Gal by Tanya Crooks brush, or any brush that has a spoolie on one end, and a really fine liner brush like this will help with filling in your brows, so anything like that will be great. I don't use any lip brushes. I think that's about it, and I'm sorry that I'm looking down and talking. I'm talking to myself on the viewfinder. It's a really bad habit. I'm really sorry for that. But that's about it. That's all the brushes that I use. I have a lot of them, but I just gave you the most fine, like the ones that I use a lot. I gave you all the list of all the ones that I use for my face. I hope this helped. I feel like if you want one company that does really, really good brushes at a good price, that's Morphe. If you have money, you can definitely go out and check out the MAC brushes. Some of them are very staple products, so I feel like if you do have the money, try to get, you know, the stippling brush, the blush brush, or something that I really like from them. The flat shader brush from MAC is really great, which I think is really good. But something like that blending brush, I feel like you can get this from Morphe. Morphe has a lot of great products that, you know, a lot of great brushes at a really good rate. And if you go to their store, I feel like you can use their coupon codes and things like that, and affiliate codes that are always out there on YouTube. And I hope that this video was really helpful for you guys. I know that I went really quickly through the brushes, but if you guys have any questions about any of the brushes or any of the products that I showed you guys, leave them down below and I'll be sure to get back to you guys. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm running out of breath. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.